Michael Kristoff, Brett Boys, tennis assistant coach. I would need a first, second discussion and vote.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Foster, motion to approve. Second, Ms. Holman. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0. Grants and donations.
Mr. Fawcett is coming to the board with permission to accept the grant amount of $10,000, kind of finishing that from last time with the No Kid Hungry program, so we're excited about that. That does require first, second discussion and vote. Once again.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept.
Ms. Brennan, motion to accept the grant. Do we have a second? Ms. Foster, any discussion?
Yeah. Is this a federal grant? State?
I believe it's
private, isn't it?
It's private.
It's a private grant, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was thinking that through, and no, it's from a private organization.
$10,000. That's wonderful.
No Kid Hungry organization, right?
Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0. Field trips.
As I sent to the board right after it happened, we had a kind of a hiccup at the higher level, not the coach's level at all, around communication around permission for a camp, and that's on us, and we're fixing that process. But we still want to do it the right way, which is bringing it to the board. So Dustin Riley, athletic director, is requesting permission for the girls' varsity basketball team to attend Indiana Westland for a team camp on 6/17, 18, and 19. In addition to that, we have Terry Hornberger, teacher at FCCSC, with the following overnight trips to be approved, and they're listed there: SOAR Leadership Camp, FFA National Convention, FIRE, FFA Leadership Camp, Leadership Development Workshop. And so all those lumped together requires a first, second discussion and vote.
Do we have a motion? Kim makes a motion to approve. Second? Beth? All those in favor? Or I'm sorry, any discussion? Sorry, jumped ahead there. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. 6-0. Moving on to financial reports. Ms. Kendra.
Yep. The education fund balance as of June 30th, 2025 was $6,729,846.58. A year ago, this balance was $5,898,368.38. The operations fund balance as of June 30th was $2,159,876.70. A year ago, this balance was $5,276,346.10. The rainy day fund balance as of June 30th was $4,164,641.37. A year ago, this balance was $1,068,712.84. The investment interest earned year to date as of June 30th was $228,764.71. This is compared to $311,552.75 a year ago.
This is for discussion only. Mr. Simonson?
Yeah, Kendra, down on operation fund. I mean, that's quite a difference there. I mean, I know that's for salaries, right? Basically salaries.
So operations is mainly for utilities, operational cost, busing, custodial. You have your admin office is out of that. The main difference in the amount is because we did have the reimbursed bond sitting in the operations fund at this time last year, and it was roughly about $3.5 million. So that got moved to the rainy day fund, which you can see reflected in the difference.
Right. And we can use that money anywhere we need to, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I was just kind of concerned here because every time I see this, seems like we're running behind.
And it was overinflated a year ago because we moved that reimbursed bond from the bond account back into the operations, and we had to leave it sit there for a while before we could move it into rainy day.
Right. Do you know how many teachers we have on staff?
60.
I should know this. I don't.
Do
I
you know what- Do you
apologize.
know what the average salary is by chance? I just was curious on how much money we have tied up in teachers' salaries.
So, well, it is a state statute now, that we have to meet 65% of our, ADM, or our money goes towards teacher salary and benefits out of the education fund. And last year we were at 64.5, I think. We almost met it. We were just a little shy.
Yeah, I lost it here. Yeah, go ahead, I'm listening.
So I am about 64.5% of our education fund revenue is tied up in salaries and benefits.
Okay, does that include administrative salaries?
That does not. So that is all bargainable staff, bargaining staff.
And does non-certified come out of that fund as well?
It does, and that is not part of the 64% either.
Not part of it, okay,
So that is purely our teaching certified staff.
gotcha.
And that's ECA also?
No, not ECA.
Not ECA?
Nope. So what can go into the 65% is any stipends that are given outside of ECA. So if they got a stipend for attending additional training, things like that would go into it, but outside of it, it is purely salaries and benefits.
Yeah. Can I ask for a statement showing how much money we have tied up in salaries
I think it's very fair.
and based on those deviations? Yeah, thank you.
What about transportation, gas, that comes out of transportation, correct?
So that comes out of the operations, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Kendra, does the interest money go into the operations fund? I've forgotten.
No, you're fine. No, the majority of it goes back into the education fund. We do have a few that, actually, I think it's just one or two accounts that it's the bond accounts, and it goes back into, actually, sorry, now I'm second guessing myself because that statute just changed. I believe it either I have to look, and because I just changed it. It either stays in the bond or it goes into the education. It's one of the two. They just changed it this past April, so I apologize. I can't remember.
We'll get that statement for you. That's no problem.
Yes.
Thank
And last month you said there was some interest that had not been because of the holiday, everything's,
Yes, everything's been settled. We received 2 months worth of interest, so it's all caught up as of June 30th.
it looks like the trust is still 4.2, 4.3 right now.
So this last month, I can tell you, because it's not as much, obviously, as the interest was 2 years ago when interest rates were sky high, but we received $28,000 alone from that account last month in interest. So that's great news.
And you still feel comfortable about moving money back and forth?
Yep, it's still same day processing.
Any thought or discussion on the rainy day funds transferred
Transferring.
to the trust to get more interest?
So this is how our accounting system works. Technically, it's all fund related in funds, but the cash sits separately outside of those. So 7 million of all of our dollars are at there. We could look at moving more. Right now, our cash balance, though, the majority of it is there. And whether we meet payroll or we have checks every month that go out to vendors for utilities, I feel really confident the way that we have it structured right now. If I would see it grow in any certain area, we could have that discussion in the future.
Anything else? Again, this is discussion only.
No, I think that's important to point out as Greg and I have been working with Kendra, and she's so graciously educating us so much. The way that these are organized into these funds on paper, like they are in front of us, is the way that we look at it and discuss today, but they're all in accounts. So it may be in interest-bearing accounts spread across, but you might not hear it today because of the way it's organized.
Go ahead, Kendra.
Okay. Cafeteria report. So the cafeteria fund balance as of June 30th was $62,380.53. This is compared to $556,941.58 a year ago. And I'll move on to the latchkey. We'll just finish them out. The latchkey fund balance as of June 30th was $14,506.68. This is compared to $23,181.73 a year ago.
2 questions. Number 1, the first key, the latch key cannot be used for anything except supplies and the person that's running it for that money, correct?
Correct.
And the second question, the cafeteria balance, I know that we were trying to spend that down. Can you give us, did we use that for salaries or equipment or?
So salaries, benefits, the increased cost of food, and there were 2, like at the high school, they have coolers that, it's not a big cooler, it's one of those, it's almost like not a vending machine.
Pop cooler.
Yes, thank you. I'm losing words here. She purchased a new one for out there that was needed, and I believe that there was another something similar to that. She showed me pictures of them, but I don't know exactly what they're called. But yes, new equipment was purchased. The cafeteria fund balance, she actually gave me some numbers. She left these on my desk to share with you guys tonight. The summer meals for both breakfast and lunch have been $16,287 for breakfast and lunch, and that is roughly about $3,744 more than this time last summer. So we have a lot more participation, which is great, serving more students in our community.
It's awesome.
When does this program end, Kendra? I'm not sure.
I don't know the
Right
last.
before school starts.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'll maybe hit 20,000.
Dustin, do you sign off on all those purchases, right?
So we all do, yes. So there's
Okay.
multiple signatures on those purchases.
Any other discussion on the financial reports? Okay, moving on. Statements from the public. Looks like we have none, so we'll move on to old business.
Yeah, we have 2 items that were brought up at our previous meeting for agenda items. So as always, I want to honor any time there's been that kind of request. So I want to go through these 2 items. At our last meeting, Ms. Burris brought up taking a look at our busing routing, particularly around dead-end streets. And so we pulled a team together and started looking at where are we now, what's our current state, what led to this, what was the board action and what was the thinking behind that board action as it went forward. Had a really, really productive conversation around all parts of that, including where we should go from here. It was my recommendation that we stay the course based on previous board action, and that we can certainly look at bringing those streets into the bidding process that starts up again this January. We are on the first of a 3-year contract. It does take a long time to get through all those contract periods, but as of right now, our current contract with our contractors from busing has it built this way, and so it was my recommendation that we stay the course of that. And so just want to give the board an update about that and allow any other discussion, of course, as a part of that, just because Mr. Burris did ask for that last time.
So the recommendation is stay the course, nothing changes unless there is other discussion or another motion or recommendation made by a board member.
Yeah.
So I'll ask if anyone has any questions or comments. And if not, then we will move on.
The second piece is Ms. Foster asked about janitorial bidding process. We are mid-process. I literally had meetings last week and I have meetings this week with potential vendors. And so we are not currently under any contract at all for our janitorial supplies. And so some of the conversations are what are some of the benefits of coming under contract. And so we do have a number of companies that have come in to bid our business. And so I'll have more for the board next month, but we're not reaching the end. It's midstream right now of the bidding process, but I wanted to give the board an update. We are looking at that as well as receiving those bids.
What do we spend?
That is a number that is not in my brain right now, and I apologize. It's
I know it's probably pretty big.
it's considerable. I mean, we're a big corporation, and
Yes.
we use a lot of paper towels, for example.
Yeah,
And,
I know we redo the gym floors. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
That's not included anymore.
Oh, that's not included.
so the gym floor is not, but the hallway materials would be, as an
Right.
example. Yes,
I was just
absolutely.
curious.
Kendra, help me. Wasn't it 271,000 in '24?
I don't have them in front of me. I can get them, but it does.
I'm pretty sure
I
it was-
remember we had this conversation, so I don't have it in front of me. I can get it for the board though.
Yeah, I don't need it now, so I was just curious because it's a great idea. Yeah.
What I can tell you is that there's a lot of reasons for a company to want our business. And so we want to leverage that, and so that's been the conversation thus far is that we are a big corporation and we're not going to pretend like we're not. And so therefore we expect to be treated as such and both our pricing and service plans. And so we are midstream of that. Thus far, we have received 4 bids. And so now I'm meeting with those folks who've given the bid to say, okay, describe this to me and what are the services that you're looking to offer us, such as like building delivery rather than just to our center campus, but all building delivery, maybe even like keeping up inventory so that it kind of streamlines some processes in addition to always having bulk pricing where they buy it at bulk, they sell it to us at the bulk price, but they keep the things on their campus so that we buy them from them directly as a part of like a 3-year agreement. Right. So those are some places that we can save some dollars for sure. That is midstream right now. I've learned a lot about janitorial supplies.
So what had been the process of securing these products previous?
So we had a company, so for the last few years, a number of years, we had a corporation that has sold them to us. And you'll see their label on all of the bathrooms inside of there with the soap dispensers and things like that. And so we have purchased from that company over the years. And so, but we're not under any agreement with them. It's just that that's who we purchased from. And so at some point, there was an ask around new dispensers that was put in, but it didn't come with any service agreement. It just came with, okay, to keep the business going. But we are right now looking at what everyone has to offer.
So we had just accepted whatever their ask price had
You got
been
it.
for several years. Thank you, Beth, for
Yes.
looking into this.
Yes.
Good job.
Dustin,
Do
I'm
you-
curious, have you had much, as you've received some bids, I mean, is it varying much?
It is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was curious,
I-
maybe on the service end, but
You can imagine, and some of this is hard, right? I'm just going to be honest with the board. Like, this is that conversation of local versus big corporate, right? And we are entering a phase that we have to get very serious about what our dollars are doing. And so looking at a 3-year agreement, we have to be able to say that we are spending our money as wisely as possible. I want to support local businesses. I do. I think it's important. But we also are coming into a season that like it's going to be really tight. And we know that. That's not new information. And so this is one area that we have to take a look. So I appreciate the encouragement to do so. It wasn't on my radar. A lot of other things are on the radar, but it's a place that we can probably find some savings. And if not, then we can also ask that those who are locally bidding, right, find a way to be comparable, right? But I do recognize that sometimes that is hard when you compare local to a really big corporate. I get it, but we do have to walk that path out. And so my priorities in the bidding process, of course, is number one is price. That's critical. And then second is service and reputation. That really does matter. And what are the promises being offered to us? So more to come to the board in the next month. If anything's in midstream, I'll let you know. But that's what's happening.
You said you have 4 bids currently. Do you have a time frame on when you plan to stop accepting, or do you think
We
you'll
already
get
did.
any more? Okay.
Yeah, so the bidding process ended this past
So
Friday.
something you hope to have in place by the August meeting?
Yes.
Or
Yeah, I'm going to read through it all. Believe it or not, I have to get a lot of vocabulary understood as you kind of compare some apples to apples. But I'm trying to give everyone a fair process and take the time to do so. Good news, we have the time, as we're obviously not under contract. But that is the update, and we will know more in August.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Next is new business.
I wanted to bring to the board's attention a soft launch of our Portrait of a Learner. Now, I know that many of you are well-versed in this concept, but I'm going to take just a moment, not too long, I know I'm wordy, but just a moment. And if it's okay with you, I'm actually going to go to the podium just so I can talk to you. I feel like I'm trying to talk down the line here. Let me get to a microphone. So our community has taken on the initiative of designing a portrait of a learner through a company called Battelle for Kids. This was on my radar as something to get done in year 2 or 3 of my superintendency here, as we needed to do some other things first. An opportunity presented itself through the redevelopment commissions at Brookville and Franklin County, and the funding showed up to get this done, so I was going to jump right on it, and we did. This was a series of meetings that we were able to define what is the most important things to our community as far as we produce a graduate. What are some of the skills and talents that we want them to have as they leave our organization outside of math and science and reading and social studies or any other subject? But what are those other soft skills that we want? And those are called competencies. And so through our pre-K and sometimes K-12 model, depending on where you join us, we want to make sure that we're building into our graduates with things beyond just the textbooks, if you will. And so the community came together either in person through the meetings or through survey, and they defined these out of the 40 or so that were available as the most important here for Franklin County. This group of competencies, which is on the front page, if you have the art right here, this group is our group. This is ours. This is no one else's. This is truly the ones that we picked, and other corporations certainly picked their own. This is something I was a part of at Northwestern when I was there. It really helped to define what are we chasing and what are we trying to do overall. And so I'm very excited to present to the board these competencies of adaptability, communication, critical thinking, empathy, integrity, perseverance, and responsibility as the most important competencies to our community, the stakeholders that were in the room, as well as those who took the survey. These stood out. We had students participate through survey and in person, not as many as we wanted to in person, but certainly through the survey. We had parents in both realms, in person as the survey, business leaders, religious organizations, you name it, other political groups, anyone from Franklin County was able to join the conversation. And it was very productive over the series of 4 meetings to get to this list. Then, of course, the art is very important. That's a critical part for sure, because we wanted to identify who we are. And so this is art for us. Like, this is our art. No one else has this same picture. There's been some changes along the way to identify it as us. For example, you'll see the white towards the backside of the river. That's to represent the dam. And then, of course, the water behind it with the boat, of course, a big part of our community. Then, of course, the farming piece. Okay, there was a lot of conversation. I didn't know quite as much about red versus green versus this color and that color and all of the opinions about the tractor color. But just the same, it does represent a big part of who we are, right? We're a rural farming community. And then small town, right, across the river, on purpose identifying that. And even in that, you'll see a school building that sits different than the other buildings. These are all small tweaks that the team brought as like, how about change this and how about change that? And of course, you can't incorporate everything, but this truly is ours. There's no other community with this same graphic design whatsoever, so it represents us, according to the team, very, very well. I'm gonna keep going as I'm gonna turn it over to the other side. Those words don't mean a lot if you don't know what we mean by those words. And so there are some descriptions here that talk about what those things are. And I know it can be a bit wordy, and I do understand it. And there's actually some summary documents that are on another version of this, but it does talk about our learners will be adaptable. And I'll just give one example, that our learners will demonstrate flexibility and agility by responding productively to change, ambiguity, and challenge. Our learners honor and leverage others' strengths, seek diverse perspectives, and contribute to collective outcomes as they navigate dynamic environments together. And so we have defined what adaptability means for us. Our team had a chance to go in and wordsmith this to represent Franklin County. So not only does the art represent Franklin County, but so do the words. So they picked the competencies, they picked the definitions, they picked the graphic design, they picked all the pieces of this. And so there's 7 there, and I would encourage you to take a look at those as we kind of define. The most important part is, okay, so what now what, right? Like, where are we going from here? What happens now is that over the course of the next year, we work with teams of teachers to say, where can we on purpose get stronger at these things? We do these things every day, but where do we have places we can build in on purpose activities to help grow adaptability, to help grow communication skills, to help grow critical thinking, like on purpose. And then you look at that by grade level. So for example, 3rd grade may say, I know we work on all of this, but in 3rd grade, we really want to think about critical thinking. And so therefore, as a part of a project that we do grade-wide, we look at this and we ask certain questions and have certain aspects of it. The goal isn't to add more to teachers, it's to take the things that teachers are doing and really adapt them just a little bit so that we are on purpose chasing these things so that when someone comes through our system and they leave us as a graduate, they're leaving with these soft skills to help them be an even more productive community member right back here at Franklin County, which is where we want them to be in the end. We want them coming right back here to be a part of what we're doing here. I describe this to someone in the simplest fashion as teaching kids how to give a great handshake, right? It's a soft skill. Where does that land? When does that taught? But what a critical thing at an interview, right? And so soft skills like that can be built into some of these things where we on purpose have a lesson around, okay, how do we learn this type of skill? It doesn't automatically show up. And so we have to ensure that we partner with our community and our parents around these things. So tonight is soft launch. We have it also at the fair that we're handing these things out. As we go to kickoff, that is where things really start to pick up around the excitement around these things. So I wanted to present this to the board as a kind of a final to say this is what the team has decided. And of course, where we go from here is going to be really critical, really important, and honestly, really exciting. And I said this to someone the other day, I think it was one of you even, that to start asking innovative questions, even at the end of my first year, not just like survival questions, not just like how do we get through it questions, but to start thinking about innovative ideas really speaks to the success of the team and what they've been able to accomplish, that we can even start talking about these bigger picture things. And so it is very exciting. And so the challenge is ahead of us, of course, to take it from here, and we'll keep the board in the loop along the way. Is there any questions about the Portrait of the Learner process or document?
I like to say, I think it's a great idea. I think it's very well presented by you. I would put this every place I could put it. You know what I'm saying? In every handbook, on every publication we have, just to spread the word and make sure everybody knows where we're at and why we stand for these things. So I thank you.
I too think this is wonderful. Some of this, in some of our standards that come down from the state of Indiana, these are in there, but they're not going to say communication, or they're not going to say the words that we've used.
Sure.
So, some people that are familiar with the education system, they will know that. But some that have no idea, this is where they will learn, that we've included Indiana has included these in their standards. Mm-hmm. But, this is great.
Yeah, we definitely want that community connection, right? Not only do we, yes, you're right, they're built into standards, of course, but who looks at those standards very often?
Yeah.
But we've boiled them down, put them in our words, our way. This is what communication means to us here at FC.
This is a big deal. A lot of corporations, you can have a diploma or degree or whatever skill set you have, but the soft skills are a big deal. And this is huge. A lot of corporations are even moving closer to soft skill set versus you just have to have that degree and we don't care, we'll bring you on. Question, do we know, or I don't know if this is not baked yet, but when we think about like a graduate, they get their high school diploma, is there a portrait, a certification, if you will, that comes with it that matches this?
Imagine a day, not today.
Okay.
but imagine a day
Okay.
where we have them defined as competencies that are built into grade levels. And that imagine a day where there's a portfolio that says, here are the examples that I've been able to produce of growing in these areas in particular, and that they can point back to those things. And not that you would take that portfolio to every interview, but you would practice your interview with that portfolio to remind yourself that, yes, I have worked on this. Yes, I have built these things. I have faced these things. So, yes, very much so, where we can point back to things. Need to get through this year to land it, and then, of course, how we measure it would be then after we land it.
Yeah. No, again, that's exactly what I was thinking. You take that to an interview or an opportunity that you're going for, would make for an awesome conversation for our graduates.
My commitment to the board is that it's not going to sit on a shelf. That's my commitment to, and hold me to that. This doesn't sit on a shelf as just this thing we did my first year, and therefore it just sat there, right? No, it's got to go from here, otherwise it doesn't mean anything. And also that we're not looking to just stack on teachers. Teachers have a lot already on their shoulders. That's not the purpose here. The purpose here is, what are you doing that we can tweak just a little bit so we also get to incorporate this? So maybe you, at the end of that activity, a kid stands up and is able to communicate in front of a group, or that they're able to communicate one-on-one with a teacher around their thoughts. That's communication, that's right. Or that we're challenging students with critical thinking. I think of these things because in our lives, we know that there's not a lot of straightforward answers. There's a lot of gray area that we have to be kind of going back to our values and our understandings of the world to try to find the best choice. That's what this does to help define for our kids, and they get to make it their own as well. And so I'm very excited about what's happening here. It really does define the next step, and kind of a mission vision plan where we as a board and as a group and as a community need to redefine our mission and vision. This is the start of that, right? So if this is the product, how do we get here, right? What are the things that we got to commit to get here? So more to come on that. Not to worry, we're not going to start that committee tomorrow, but we definitely need to do some work because it's been a while, right? We need to. It's okay to go back to that, and that's good. So this is a key start of that. So very excited about this process, and I also want to thank the committee. We had at one meeting we had 50, and it kind of dwindled, went up and down a little around. I think our lowest meeting was about 18 or 19, but we had some really large, great conversations where people were defining these things. And I'll just leave the board with this. The purpose for this, and to Jessica's point, and I think another person's point as well, Beth, I think you mentioned it as well, is that we need to prepare our students for jobs that haven't been created yet. And so instead of just teaching them the math, which we still need to do, we also need to help them understand how to be a problem solver, how to resolve conflict, how to persevere through hard times. Because a company will say, give me the person that has those kind of skills. I'll train them on how to make the sale. I'll train them on how to fix the HVAC. But I need a system that's going to create someone that's honest, that they come to me and they're an honest person when things get tough, or that can handle a customer when it's not going well, and that they have those skills. That's stuff that's really difficult to train once you hit an adult age. It's really set in stone in a lot of ways. So this reflects a lot of that, is that our companies are looking for folks who have these skills, and then they'll finish the molding themselves to prepare for jobs that just haven't been created yet. Think about our kindergarten class, our incoming kindergarten class of 2036 or 37. That group, think about what the world's going to be like when they are walking out of high school. Our job is to get them ready for that world, not this world. And some of that decision is going to be just because you can doesn't mean you should. And so we got to help our kids understand that too as well, because the world's going to start changing around what's possible, but that doesn't mean it's what they should be doing. And so some of these skills that they have to define for themselves will help them do that. Thank you for the time. I know it's a fair night, and you gave me a few minutes on that, but thank you.
I'll reiterate a few things that several have said, but what I was thinking is, talking about the teachers, they were involved.
Yeah.
And that was great to see, because that was taking their own time to come and have their input.
Very
So it's,
thankful.
again, it's not adding on to them, but they got to have their say and input in it. Business owners, well, administrators were there, principals, we had some board members there, off and on. But business owners, business leaders were there. Like, to Jessica's point, that these are things that they're looking for, and as you said, there are a lot of jobs out there, very good jobs, that they don't want people that have already been trained how to do that job. They want people with good characteristics, and they will teach them how to do the job to work for their company. So it's important to learn. It's important to learn math and English and the specific things in school, but it's also important to learn just characteristic traits. So, great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Next on the agenda is other. I'll go ahead and start this one if that's okay. Just a side note that first, a reminder to everyone up here, the Fall ISBA Conference is in September. If you are planning to attend or want to attend, you need to, it's September 15th and 16th. It's a Monday and Tuesday. It's a very good conference. I know myself, Dustin, Katie, and Brandy all went last year, but I would highly encourage everyone to go. And if you do go, let's get together and, try to figure out how we can best serve our school. It's great to have more people because
More sessions.
we can go to different things and spread ourselves out and learn more. Whereas one or two people, it's hard. So I highly encourage everyone to go to that. There are a couple other seminars as well, but that is the big one. And then just because I have this note on I noticed transportation, we had some things that we need to fix. So we'll remind parents that if they signed up for transportation, I saw an email that said there were some hiccups and needed to update it on the final forms. Is that
Our
right?
registration, yeah. We
Yes.
definitely need everyone to get on there and register with us. That will help us further along the routing process. So the sooner the better. If you haven't gone on, it doesn't take very long. It's only a few minutes per child, but it does really help us. And if you need help between now and any time that we have those open nights, just call me central office, and we'll help you. Anyone who's out there.
That's all I have for others. Anybody else have anything? We'll have agenda requests later, but anything else that we've missed? And if not, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
So at our last, a recent conversation, Mr. Burris asked me to talk about some highlights from this year, some things that we accomplished, and I began to list those things, and I recognize that we are here, and I'm going to go pretty quickly as far as I can, but any of these are up for conversation or question if you have them. If I missed any accomplishment of the team, please understand I did my absolute best. I went month to month. I went through emails and calendars and okay, when did we do this and when did we do that, so that I didn't miss them. If I did miss things, I apologize to any of our team members. This represents the team's accomplishments this year. Obviously, we thrived through this year. We didn't just survive. We thrived through this year, and we made through every single day and served our customers and took care of our kids and make it safe. All those things are true, but I don't think that was what he was asking of me. It was more like, okay, what's new or different and what have we done? So please understand, we also do that every day. But in the month of July, last July, we established an SLT, which is a strategic leadership team, breaking down silos between departments. We initiated a new discipline process called PSW that helps us stay informed on our discipline processes. We recalibrated the E3 alert system to make it our own. We established an admin kickoff meeting where we were to set the vision for our administrative team. We had a brand new version of our staff kickoff where we had the community there to cheer on our teachers and the band, and we did some line dancing as well. We were able to finish our middle school and high school roofing projects, which was a big piece. We, of course, had our fair week, which was great, and we're doing that again. In fact, we're headed there tonight. We had our successful summer meals program last July. We implemented free breakfast and lunch across the corporation coming into this school year. That's a huge endeavor, and we were able to do that. We implemented a new routing system, which was a conversation from last month around some decisions that were made, and we walked that path. So that was July. August, we established our walkthrough processes, so our admins are going into classrooms. We established new corporation and building goal processes that had never been done that way before. An athletic council, attendance communication processes through PSW. We established our RISE as a school improvement model. That was a huge piece. In September, we were able to initiate an energy savings lighting project at the middle school and high school. We were able to free up 3 hours of time for our elementary teachers to work on the new curriculum by taking all those kiddos and having some fun with them. And that was their first real experience with Mr. G, which is different than Mr. Gehring. Those are two different people. If you didn't know that, they experienced that a little bit. I think some of them were shocked. But we had a good time. We had two committees that came up and made some decisions around testing and our MTSS process. We established a new maintenance director, which has been a great process, and we're really doing well. Our admins were trained in ALICE as a protocol, so across the corporation, they're all trainers themselves. Also in September, we planned the Geo Bond project, which we know is a big piece of, where are we going from here. A couple more to go, and I just the question came up, so I thought we'd take a moment. In October, we finished a BES roof project. There were some pieces of that we needed to get done. We had successful salary negotiations. We had a revision to our safety commission format. We did it different than it's ever been done before. We added a dean position in October, which was a great upgrade to BES and help there. We trained and implemented all of our staff and the ALICE protocols corporation-wide. So by the end of that time, every staff member had been trained in ALICE for certified and then most classified at that point. We began to plan out a new radio project. That's going to be one of our initiatives this year is radios that can communicate county-wide. I'll talk about that in just a minute. We had a successful copier bidding process that we were able to do. We then implemented our GeoBond technology project by making those purchases, and we're excited about what's happening this coming school year for our kiddos. In January, we as a group established new BOE committees and a meeting process and even a cadence that was new and different. And so we kind of walked that out. What does it mean to have BOE committees and have them be fruitful? We had a successful mowing bidding process. In January, we established a mid-year goal progress meeting with our admin team where they had to sit down and tell me how are we doing and what are we going to do about it. That was different for them. They were a little nervous about it, but they were okay. And then I established a monthly legal meeting with our legal team to make sure we're always connecting. I know there's a lot, but I wanted to fulfill the request. In February, we did a number of things that were kind of, wrapping up things from school year wide and things of that nature. One of the big ones, of course, was the portrait of a learner. That was really kicking off at that point and ended up in May. In March, as you know, we established an FCCSC building master plan. That was a huge endeavor that we were able to accomplish, and our staff has been incredibly grateful holistically around the words that were said and what was done and what was kind of what the board said, this is what we want to do. We did some field upgrades at the baseball stadium. Then we got into staffing, and we changed our staffing process. There was a lot of confusion about the staffing process, and we kind of tried to clear that up and ensure everybody understood the fair process we try to follow around staffing. We recalibrated our challenge program coming into this year because we heard the frustrations around different models, different places. So there was a whole process to get to that. We also finished our high school chiller project, which was a huge endeavor well before I got here. It took forever and always, and it is finished, and it's working. In April, we got our 1003 waiver approved for the next 3 years to have those PD days so our teachers can work on that. We created a new student code of conduct, which all of you got the chance to see in our handbook. So we revised all of that. We were able to name a new BES principal, and we're excited about what Ashley's doing already and what she's going to do with that team this year. A couple more. In May, we did the final revision of the whole student handbook. The team did a revision of the support staff handbook. That was a huge endeavor for them. We were able to accomplish a classified wage increase, which not everyone around the state was able to do, and we were able to do that thanks to the team. We established an end-of-the-year principal retreat. Hadn't really been done before, and so we sat down and said, how did this year go, and what's the vision for the future, and what to think about over the summer. It was a long day, but it was a good day. We reestablished our Handle with Care certification, which is really good for our connection with our police department. And we had a 98% graduation rate, which was a heck of an accomplishment for that team. 25 associate degrees were earned by our graduates, which is an incredible number. I don't know what else happened around the state, but I'm going to take a venture, and someone's going to write me an email later and say it's not true. But I'm going to say that that was one of the top, if not the top. I'm going to go with the top because I don't know otherwise, and someone will surely write me an email. But it's a huge number just the same. That's an incredible accomplishment by that team. As you know, we did our Portrait of a Learner, and we finished that up. Across the school year, our admin team did 478 instructional walkthroughs. That is 478 times our team went into classrooms and said, what's happening here? And looked for the best stuff. And then we're able to get a real measurement to say, how are we doing in some of these best areas? That's a huge number. When you think about 1,900 total kids, you know, how many schools? 5 schools. How many classrooms in each school? 478 is a great number. That means that they can really say out loud, we know what's going on in there. We had a new principal at LES, and he had a very successful year, so a lot of support his way. We had sometimes I forget, we had a new principal at the middle school, and Trent did a great job as well. Andrew and Trent, sometimes I forget that their first year, they're doing so well. I also sometimes forget that Shannon's in her first year. She's a brand new assistant superintendent, and she had a fantastic year. But of course, that's a lot of support along the way. Some new team members there. We had a new ELA curriculum that we navigated and had a successful implementation year. That was fantastic. Kudos to our team. We did a lot of changes to our special ed policy. We saw a lot of things that were just kind of old school, and we needed to kind of do some revisions, and we did that. I established some weekly meetings with my SLT members, some one-on-ones, and so we spent a lot of time together this year. I became a certified school safety specialist, and then also I finished the new superintendent mentoring program. So I know that there's things that we didn't mention here, right? And this doesn't take into account the day-to-day operations and all the things that need to happen. But I tried to give a highlight of like, how did we do this year? And what are some new things that we brought in? And I'm just going to say this. My first year, new job, new corp, new state. And so to get to July 1 of this year, as I sent you that text, was exciting and kind of a deep breath in and out to say, wow, that's been a year. And I'm excited about the future. And I apologize, but I got to continue, and I'm going to quickly go, because the second question was, what's next? Okay, so I got a couple things for you, just kind of set those things in motion for you. Not too many, I promise. Kind of big level stuff. What's coming up? We have to plan out any GEO bond projects that we have coming up. We know that's coming up in some of those decisions. We got to work through our new budget. We got to figure out after August, what's this new AV and what's life going to be like after January, and primarily what's life going to be like school year 26, 27 and beyond. That's going to be huge. We're going to do everything we can to keep it away from kids. But that's not going to always be possible. But that's going to be our goal. Our priority is to try to keep it away from kids. We have an assessment that's been done by performance that's going to has triaged our projects. So as those GEO bond dollars come in, we can triage to say, what are we going to fix first, second, third, along the way. So some of that building project will be on the horizon. Taking our portrait to practice will be a big initiative this year. Of course, I promised you it wouldn't sit on the shelf. We're going to use our 3 PD days given by the state for the best possible growth in the areas of our instructional practices and classroom strategies. I know that it means that kids stay home with their parents, and that's 3 more days that they have to figure out something to do with them, and I get that. And so my commitment to our community is to use those days wisely, and we will. We're going to continue to seek out business partners. We're primarily looking for some support around our PBIS implementation in our buildings. All of our buildings are expected to implement PBIS at a high level. This summer, as you know, we have the Kid Whisperer coming up in about a week. That didn't land on the last year's list because it didn't happen yet, but it's going to happen. Then we have to implement those strategies. We have a national speaker coming, and that's very exciting. Just about 65 people have signed up. We're going to take our walkthrough processes through those PD strategies. Okay, so one thing to see, it's another thing to intervene. We're going to look at our systemic approach to building safety. We have some planning to do around if we had to reunify, as well as our communication during an event. So we have some strategies that we're going to put into place there. We have radios coming in that can now talk across the county. So this is part of the GEO bond project. And so we'll have some strategies and protocols around safety for communication purposes that they can communicate across the county through the radio. So at central office, we'll always know what's happening out there. We're not reliant on a cell phone call, but rather we can hear it across the radio at any time.
So all of our business is gonna go across the radio?
Your business,
All of our school business
Our school
is
business will
gonna
go-
go across the
our
radio?
privatized channels.
So we will have our channel?
Mhm.
So somebody that's on the radio downtown is on another channel?
Yes, that's correct. We have our own FCC channels.
Does the bus drivers have those?
So they have their own analog channels already, and these radios will be able to talk to those.
I knew that was a problem in the past. Thank you.
We're going to implement a threat assessment team this year. We're already kicking that off to help our buildings look at like where are our concerns and what can we do about them. School safety teams are going to start meeting more often to talk about where are our vulnerabilities. We have baseline discipline data that we did not have before because of PSW. So now we're going to do things with that to identify where the need is the most. New student attendance initiatives, one of which is a meeting with the superintendent at the 15th unexcused absence, so we can sit down and talk about a plan so the kiddos can get to school as often as possible. Of course, we got our new contract in the fall that we need to negotiate. We're going to work on a centralized student filing system. We have files everywhere across this corporation that they're just in boxes all over the place. So we're going to look at that. We're looking at local pathways for graduation, so we can start making that our own as well. That's an option that we have. I have a superintendent council at each of the buildings that's getting established this year, where I'll sit down with kiddos from each building and talk about what's going great and what do we need to get better at. As you know, we have a new principal of BES, and so Ashley will need that support, of course. We're implementing our new code of conduct, which of course takes some training. It's new, it's different, but I think it's going to give a lot of improvement. We have a new staff training process that's being implemented through PSW that's going to make that a lot easier for staff. That's been kind of a nightmare along the way. We're going to fix that. We have a new bus bidding process in January. And then lastly, we're looking at what's possible around reducing our snow removal bidding. So we take care of our center campus ourselves, and then we just bid the outliers. So that's a really wide, attempt at like what's coming. Obviously, we have a lot of things happening. But if you ever have any questions about any of that, please call, email, whatever. If you want an update, happy to give it. But that was something that was asked of me, was to present to you guys that list. Questions on that? I know it was a lot.
Well, I just think you've done a heck of a good job, Dustin.
We're trying, man.
Look all of that in 1 year's time, and don't think that people aren't recognizing out in the community. I get feedback all the time that, hey, things are changing. I'm being listened to. I get remarks about how fast you return phone calls to folks, within 40, 50 minutes sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're doing a great job, and things are getting better all the time.
I'm always good as the people around me. So I'm very blessed. All right, just a couple quick things. One, from here we're heading to the fair. So I'd love to meet anyone who wants to stop by and shake a hand. We'll be out there. I'll be there every day but Wednesday. Wednesday's my son's birthday, but we have a team there every single night. Come out, meet some folks, shake a hand, get some updates along the way. We're excited to keep that going. Two other things and I'm done, I promise. Staffing. I want to take a moment to recognize where we are. We're in a pretty incredible place right now. And in fact, coming here last July, we're in a completely different place than we've ever been, which is that we are fully staffed except for one position that we just posted today. That was Adam's position because he went into the counselor space. We moved a middle school person to the high school, and we have a middle school position that we just made open. So to say out loud that we have chosen to post one more thing, not because we're desperate and, oh my gosh, we're chasing everything. It's a pretty incredible place to be that's certified that we are truly fully staffed, minus one that, again, we just started that because Adam moved over. That's a pretty incredible thing. Classified, we are very close. They're finishing up some aid interviews this week at BES, and then we'll be also classified fully staffed. So to say out loud that we are that close to fully staffed is incredible. We had 4 certified people, teachers that either retired or chose to go elsewhere at the end of this year, which I don't know that that's been true lately with all the movement and attrition. It's been a great thing, honestly. It's been a great thing that we're not spending the entire summer hiring everybody. We've really been able to do that, including my principals. honestly. If you remember last year, we were chasing around all kinds of things. So that's exciting. Kudos to all the team members involved in that and keeping our attrition rates as low as possible. Funding. We're entering a tough season in August. We know that. We will keep the board in the loop as much as we can. Once we know more, you'll know more. Never hide anything along the way, but that is going to be a tough thing. We know that. And so I promised our staff that we're status quo for 25, 26, and we're maintaining that. But when we get to budget for calendar year 26, that's going to impact school year 26, 27, and we have to be ready. And I don't know what that means just yet. We're going to know once we know the numbers. We went to another conference this past Friday, and they said, it's so bad, but they still can't get us the formula that says how bad is it. Like, we really are. We know something's coming, but we don't know what that something is, and so we'll know more from our advisors. And not looking forward to that, but knowing that we can take it on, because we have a great team here, and we're going to do everything we can to keep it away from kids. But I don't know that it will, but we're going to try really hard to keep it away from impacting students, because that's my life mission, right? I mean, that's what we do. So that's going to be some tough stuff along the way. Kudos to our summer team, summer meals team as well. We spoke of that earlier. They do a great job. Boy, that's a lot, and I apologize. That's it for me.
You're fine. We can come, if anybody has anything else, but I'll go to legislative updates, because I was just going to ask you and Kendra if you had anything else to add specifically about the conference on Friday.
Kendra?
I was unable to attend. I was out of town, but you feel better, worse, wasted your day?
Oh, no, that's not it.
No, it was not a waste of a day. It was great, to be honest. Well, great as far as information.
And for those listeners, this had to do with Senate Bill 1 and
Yes.
yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, what you don't get from attending the conference is school-specific details. They're not able to give us exactly. They can give you generalized.
Not everybody asked, though.
Yeah, large
about this? What
yes,
about-
large corporations, small corporations, and kind of so. Unfortunately, until we know our assessed value, that comes out in August, we'll be able to run through some numbers, be able to give more detail of where we're expecting things to come in at. Until then, we can't necessarily give numbers. Yeah, it was a great conference though.
So again, I jumped ahead just because that had to do with the last topic. So does anyone have anything to add or questions on the superintendent's report?
Oh, I had something on legislative updates. I had a question.
Go ahead, that's fine.
When I read through the journal, the School Board Association Journal this month,
Oh, yeah.
and I see that there's certain actions that are supposed to take place on July 1st. I was just wondering if we're obligated to modify the handbook in regards to that.
So any changes that were made, we're up on. So our student handbook represented the things that needed to be updated along the way. There was like attendance stuff, but we were already ahead of that and things of that
I mean,
nature.
there's stuff on medication, athletic transfer.
So we're ahead on all those things.
Okay, all right, that's what I was just curious about.
And a lot of those things are already decided. They just take effect July 1st is what that is.
Yeah.
Nothing else on that. Any future agenda requests? Okay, recognition and acknowledgements?
Nothing from me.
Nothing? I think we've done a lot of those today, so does anybody have anything else?
I'll add,
Yep.
and this is just, I know we all have a different perspective in our lives, our kids doing different things. So we were able to attend the Franklin County High School golf outing yesterday, so it's just fresh in my mind. Huge turnout. I saw Beth's house. I didn't knock on her back door, but I was tempted. But huge turnout. Love to see so many parents and just community members come out and support the high school golf team. Brandon Cowan is the coordinator of all the chaos, and it was a lot. So just recognition, I think, for him.
He's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, the high school golf team, I mean, they have a lot of support. Jill at Brook Hill all together. I mean, just a great turnout, a lot of support.
Awesome.
So that was great to see.
Anything else? If not, we will adjourn. The next regular school board meeting is at 6 p.m. Monday, August 11th, 2025, right here at the administration building. And with that, everyone have a great night and enjoy the fair this week.
Thank you.
Um,
Good job.